Ok, siamo qui per presentare King Shiloh Sound da Amsterdam. Sono tanti anni che sono sulla strada, hanno collezionato date in tutto il mondo, hanno toccato molte città della Germania, Francia, Spagna, con un furgone al seguito con tutto il sound caricato. Siamo qui per fare un po' di domande a Neil che ci racconterà un po' della sua storia, della storia della loro crew, di come sono nati e che messaggio portano in giro. Alright, blessed love Neil, welcome in Florence.
Greetings, give thanks and praise to the Most High, Jah, Rastafari.
Every time.
Ever
Yes.
living.
Make some question about the sound system culture, alright? From the 50 era, when the sound system born in Jamaica, the blue beat era, the R&B era, many things are changed. What, in your opinion, the meaning of this culture still live in those days?
See, well, I think nothing has really changed since those days, brethren, you know. In the 50s, sound system came up and it was a music of the people, you know, to entertain people. Music made by people like King Tubby's and Duke Reid and those people. And bringing that message in that music to people on a large scale meant building big sound systems, right? So they could reach the people. In this time now, nothing has changed. We're still building big sound systems and we're still entertaining people. And we're still really delivering the same message, you know. And the only difference between then and now is technology, you know, like everything in life, things are developing and moving quite quickly. So technologically, we're seeing a lot of change within sound system, you know. Our own sound system, we just started playing stereo, you know, set everything up stereo instead of mono, which is a great change from those days because everybody's always followed in the mono tradition, you know. And we make a step and say, no, we want to do something different. We want to explore now the fullness of music and not just one channel of music. We want two channels, you know. So that's... But the meaning has stayed the same from that day to this day, man.
Oh, okay, we try to go more in deep in this in this part of your work, because you talk about technologies and building of a sound system,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we like to know why you need to build your own sound instead using PA or things like that.
I think really for, you know, going back again to the 50s time, 60s, 70s, that sound systems really had to make their own from a financial standpoint, right? That people, talking about street people building sounds and playing. So they didn't have big budgets to buy expensive American speakers and things like that, you know? They had to rely on what they could get and what they could put together themselves, you know? And in that same way, Shiloh started, you know, the first boxes we ever had. We buy some standard boxes, we change the speakers, we build the mid-range, and we add the tops to it. And from then on, it's just been a continual development of, you know, of changing the speakers, developing the sound, refining the sound. Yeah, in that way.
Yes, sound system culture.
It's a culture, man. It's a lifestyle that we live. You know, it's not something you give up at during the week and you only do it at weekends. It's something that we every day, you know, from morning till night, we're busy with sound system. If we're not building boxes, we're in the studio. If we're not in the studio, we're touring. If we're not touring, you know, we're talking about new projects. There's always something. That's the amazing thing about sound system. You know what I mean? There's no limit to it. There's no end to it. But what's important is that we maintain the tradition of sound system. You know, that we look at other kind of musics, right? And we see hip-hop particularly. Hip-hop start off with a message and has degenerated now into some cheap pop music. As far as I'm concerned, you know, forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's how I see it, that it started off something positive and turned to something negative now. And it teaching people, you know, the 50 Cent kind of way of life. That kids aspire to that. Kids want to be that now. You know what I'm saying? And sound system has to maintain what it is, and what it is a group of people building their own speaker boxes and everything, and taking it with them and playing and entertaining people. If we become DJs with little boxes of CDs or with laptops, we're losing the culture, we're losing the sound system thing, you know? And that would be a shame, right?
Yes, I will know. Precious
man.
word, yes. We talk so about King Shiloh family. It's a wide and large family, right?
Yeah, man.
How they meet, how the project, the sound was born.
Well, it's a thing, there's many kind of things that spark off Shiloh being a sound system. But the main thing really was when, I mean, I started doing a radio program with a brother I know from a long time, from England, in Amsterdam. Right, so we started doing a radio program every Saturday night. And people used to tune in, like, because in those times, I'm talking about 15 years ago, 20 years ago even, people used to see radio as something important, you know? Now they turn on television or they put on laptop and watch something on laptop. But in those days, they used to turn on the radio station. So by playing radio, we get a big public. People used to phone up all the time we were playing on the radio, because at that time we were playing new roots coming out of the UK. You remember that time? Like end of the 80s,
I was
early
so
90s.
young. I was so young.
Okay,
man,
but them time, right?
there.
The early 90s, there was a new push with UK music, you know? Roots music really started to get a platform and say we've got our own identity. You know, Jamaican music has its own identity, but we have our own identity too. You know? So in the 90s, the Roots really started, and from then, that's the tradition that we're maintaining, really, the UK tradition. Yeah, man.
All right, bless.
What you used to do before, get involved in the music?
I can't remember a time that I've not been involved in the music, to be honest with you. From when I was, 14, I started going to sound system dances in Leeds and Bradford, you know. I used to go with my big sister. She used to grab me and take me to sound system dances. It was amazing, bro. I can't, if I think back to that time, I used to go, me and my sister were sometimes the only white people in the dance, not to bring it into a colour thing, because it's not about colour. But, my first experiences, because in those days they used to have much more speaker boxes too than they do now, because we've got much higher power speakers. In the old days they used to have more boxes to get that same power. And seeing the walls of speakers that they used to build, it just used to drive me crazy, thinking, what are people doing? Why do they want to play so loud? And it's only after a few times of going to a dance that you realise the spiritual element of being in something that's so intense as a sound system, It can then uplift you, and yeah, like in the old days, that's why people used to go to dance, because they had hard lives, and they were miserable. And when they go to the sound system, they get uplifted, and they feel the whole week after that they feel good, and they can't wait for the next sound system to start, and then they feel good again.
Like a temple,
yeah, it's true, man. It's like, not really like going to church,
but
that kind of
it's a place, at spirituality.
True. I mean, in our kind of department of dance, I don't want to forget there's other kind of dancehall. We're talking about one specific part, roots dancehall, which is positive, man. I just want to emphasize that what we do is positive. We're not putting anything down. We're not degrading nobody. You understand? We're non-racial, non-partial, non-nothing. We just come to do what we do in the name of the Father. That's all,